What is going on, everyone? Trust the Buzz here. If you're new to the channel, I make Charlotte Hornets content, so if that interests you, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. If you cannot tell by the thumbnail title of this video, in today's video, we're going to be talking about LaMelo Ball's injury. But first off, I just want to say I apologize for not uploading nearly as much as I actually want to. Preparing for the baby. Next time I have a recording section, I will be the official father of a little baby girl. So it's just been crazy trying to prepare. But the season doesn't stop. I don't stop. I will find time to make videos. I just got to find the time. My life is adjusting, so I got to find time to adjust to the new life. So anyway, with that out the way, we're going to talk about LaMelo Ball's injury. And for me, I am nervous. And this is strictly as a fan. This is not coming from Trust the Buzz, as in I cover the team. This isn't coming from me trying to kind of like put my NBA hat on. Just as a person that likes the Charlotte Hornets, that is a fan of the Charlotte Hornets, I'm nervous. I'm scared. Because today, if you haven't seen, the Hornets officially shut down LaMelo Ball for the season. Nothing new. I think we all knew that. If anything, I'm upset, and maybe we can talk about that in a second, but if anything, I'm upset that it took the team this long because it seemed like they were just trying to prolong it. The only benefit of that I can give them is maybe they just didn't want to be accused of tanking, so therefore they kind of took this approach. I don't know. It's hard to guess anything with this team because of the incompetency that we've seen, but I digress. We'll talk about more about that in a second. I'm really just nervous because of the fact that the way Steve Clifford talked about it was that just his ankle has not responded. Now, that is a very vague answer. And consider we haven't really had anything transpire as far as updates in the last, month, maybe 2 months, it's just a little concerning. Can I really believe that his ankle hasn't responded? If I have the NBA hat on, no. It doesn't sound realistic. If anything, like I said, they're just trying to tank, and they just need a reason to. Like they need to say stuff like that because he didn't say, "Oh, his ankle just is busted and it's over for him." He just said it's not responding. That's very vague. The NBA can't really say, "Oh, well, you're hiding. He's actually healthy." It's like, no, if it's not responding, it's not responding. So that doesn't mean his career's over. It doesn't mean that he's never going to be the same. I mean, we heard some things similar to that last year, and look how he came back this year once he finally got kind of like his NBA legs under him. But overall, like I said, as a fan, I'm just nervous because we just don't know what that means. And with this team not being good, I'll say this. There's a lot of things going against the Hornets for you to not want to believe them. We haven't been transparent with injuries in the past. The team is not good, so there's really no reason to him coming back. The season is literally over. So even if the team was good, and we'll use good as like the Atlanta Hawks. Like I think they're under 500, but they're going to make the play in more than likely. Even then, I wouldn't be mad if we were in that situation and they didn't bring them back. I wouldn't, because what's the point? I think you want a full team, going into your playoff run. And yes, the playoff experience would be nice, but you get what I'm saying. There's so much for you to not take that comment and say and be nervous and not be nervous. Yeah, and not be nervous because they just haven't given us anything in the past for us to believe them as far as if this is good or bad. For example, if it was the 76ers, right? A team that they fell into the play-in, but it's literally because they've been missing their best player for a good portion of the season at this point. At least, a very important part of the season. I would be really concerned if they were like, I don't remember what Joel Embiid's injury was, but if they were like, it's not responding, then I'd be like, oh my God, like I'm scared. The Hornets just haven't been good. There's nothing to absolutely play for. He doesn't have his center. Miles Bridges is essentially playing for a contract. Brandon Mills is a rookie. There's just so many things pointing to like the other direction. I just can't fault them for not wanting to bring LaMelo Ball back into this. And with the possibility of him getting hurt, you have other kind of like, for some teams, inexperienced players on the court trying to prove something. So diving, like it's so many things that could happen. I'm not saying that any of this is true. I'm not reporting anything. It's nothing like that. It's nothing of the matter. It's just more so I can see why they would want to bring him back. But with that being said, with everything pointing against them, it's hard to know. This could be them really telling the truth. They're just that incompetent when it comes to relaying injury news. This could very well be them telling the truth. LaMelo Ball's ankle is still not responding, and he's having trouble. And I know having a whole offseason is going to help. Having time dedicated to just recovering and not recovering to play, but just recovering, just focusing on yourself, that could help tremendously. Being around the guys could help. Like, there's so many things that could happen. But if this is true, what is next? What is next for this team? Next year, his contract kicks in. Next year, we need LaMelo Ball. This isn't, I'm not saying Terry and Gordon were some star, but they were getting paid like star money, essentially, like a high-profile player money. LaMelo Ball is the guy next year. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I've said it before. Most money, most notoriety, best player, everything that you look for in your franchise player, LaMelo Ball will have next year. A solid team. Our team, there's definitely needs to be some tweaks, but we will have a decent team to where we really can't complain because we've seen how this team plays with LaMelo. Like, when LaMelo was out previously, the team would fall apart. Team would fall apart completely. Now, it's like, okay, the defense is actually pretty good. When we score like we're supposed to, we are able to actually defend. Because the reason that matters is because if we can't score over 85 points, of course the other team is going to be able to score so much because we're not really doing much on our end. But we saw last night when against the Cleveland Cavaliers, which I'll talk more about on the podcast, we were able to score. And it was a high-scoring game very early, and then the defense kicked in. And then we scored like 118, they scored 111. Those are good numbers as far as defensive, speaking. Because, at one point we were almost one of the worst defenses in NBA history. So LaMelo Ball fixes a lot of those issues if you literally just plop him in to the lineup. Not to mention we'll have, I'm just saying in the future reference, we'll have Seth Curry or a Seth Curry equivalent. We'll have Cody Martin or a Cody Martin equivalent, and we'll have Mark Williams back along with LaMelo. So I get the vision of you plop LaMelo into this. We have a decent team. We're in the play-in. We're maybe even if we do end up in the play-in next year, even as a 9-10 seed, it will be because the East maybe is so good. I'm not saying that's true, but I'm saying that we should really, the way this team is constructed right now, the way Brandon Miller is playing, the way we can possibly get Miles Bridges to play, we should be a team contending for that 6th spot. Don't know how we'll get there. Don't know what the rest of the East is going to do because, of course, they got to make their moves. But you can see the vision where if you plop LaMelo into this, you have a really, really solid team. And if you get a really solid coach to back that up, look how good this team has looked with Steve Clifford and missing players. There's been times where it's like, man, we just had one other decent player on the court. We could have won that game. Now, there's been some blowouts as well, but you just see the vision. If he is truly injured, what now? Your whole approach is different because you can't put all your eggs in the basket going into next season because you don't know what you're going to get next season. You can't really say, okay, this is going to be the playoff team. We're going to surround LaMelo, all these players, if you don't know you're going to get LaMelo. It just literally wouldn't make sense. I wouldn't even be mad at the front office if they didn't really do the moves we anticipated. If they knew, maybe we don't know, but if they knew LaMelo is just not quite going to be himself for a majority of the season next year. It just leaves a lot into interpretation. If I had to put the NBA hat on, I'll say this is a front. I'm not saying that he's not feeling discomfort. I'm not saying that he's trying to sit out. What I am saying is that it just may not be as bad as they're kind of leading us to believe, and that his ankle may not be necessarily responding, but I do feel like he might be healthy enough to play, but it's just not enough to play in these conditions because I wouldn't blame him. There's just literally no reason whatsoever for LaMelo to risk the future of the team for the least next 2 years at minimum trying to play with a team that is well out in the playoffs and literally is playing for nothing. So I think that it's just a front. I'm not saying that he's faking an injury. I know some people have said that. Not saying that at all. I think he really is maybe feeling discomfort, but it's not discomfort or his ankle's not responding in a way of this is a lingering issue that could potentially go and carry over into the next season. I think it's more so it's lingering now. He's not just the most comfortable, but he does need NBA reps. However, we don't feel comfortable giving him those NBA reps right now because essentially the season's over. So let me know what you think down in the comment section below. It's a lot to think about. The pressure's on. I mean, I think we all know that, whether you're just here for LaMelo, whether you're here for the Hornets, whether you were here for LaMelo and then now you love the Hornets, whatever the case may be, if you're watching this video, I think we all know the pressure's on. for this franchise as a whole, and all the players in it, all the owners, the Jeff Peters, all these guys. The pressure is on. How are they going to respond? We will see. But once again, let me know what you think down in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.